Can a three-row crossover deliver class-leading performance and high performance? We take a look at the all-new 2021 Kia Sorento Hybrid right now on Driving Sports TV.
This is the 2021 Kia Sorento Hybrid. It is a three-row crossover that gets up to 39 miles to the gallon around town. That's insane! Whew. So you might be asking, why am I filming this review in the rain? Why don't I just wait for a day where it's dry? I only have this car for basically 1.5 days, and I need to film it. And the weather forecast for this week is rain all the time. So I figured instead of waiting for lack of rain, I just thought I'd film in the rain because this is the Pacific Northwest, and this is the world I live in.
The details on this new Sorento are quite appealing, with non-essential flourishes in matte chrome, signature driving light LEDs, and taillights that evoke the Ford Mustang. For a family wagon, this is quite a looker. The Hybrid is available in 2 trims. What we have here is the loaded EX in runway red, which adds $445 to the price. As you see it, price is $38,205 US, including destination. Power comes from a hybrid powertrain that includes a 1.6-liter Turbo 4, combined with a 60 horsepower electric motor for a total system output of 227 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. This is connected to a standard 6-speed automatic transmission powering the front wheels exclusively. Being a mild hybrid, this only includes a 1 kilowatt-hour battery, so there is no dedicated EV mode. A plug-in hybrid version will be out later this year if you're more interested in electric-only motoring. EPA rates the model we're testing here at 39 miles to the gallon in town and 35 on the highway. Walking to the back of the vehicle with keys in pocket will activate the rear door, eventually. Behind the standard third row is very little space, only 12.6 cubic feet. Fold them down for up to 45 cubic feet. Use the handy buttons to fold the second row flat for a maximum of 75.5 cubic feet of total cargo space. Under the floor is a jack. The inclusion of both close and close lock on the rear door is a nice touch. Now let's see how well this fits people.
Ooh. In the second row, we get captain's chairs. Ahoy, matey. The adjustable armrest. There. See? I also have this interesting pop-out, well, it's not really a pop-out, but it's like a cup holder that they clearly said, we want a cup holder here, but the armrest wasn't big enough, so they just put the cup holder there anyway. I'm not upset with it. I think it's okay, but it's kind of weird. It just looks weird. Down here we have one USB socket and a 12-volt socket. Plus we have USBs in the seat back, which is a thing that Kia does on some of their vehicles. And then we have more of these vents. So second row passengers can control their own AC in terms of blowing, but not really in terms of anything else. And shockingly, this is actually a 3-row. Oh no, kid locks. Okay, let's see what this is like. This isn't a very big crossover. Okay, so my head is hitting on the back here. If I sit up straight, it's a little better. Still hits though. I do have enough knee room, which I'm actually really surprised with. What if somebody puts the seat back further? Okay, yeah, I still have knee room. Foot room isn't great, but I could survive with this. I do feel folded up, so yeah, wouldn't want long distance trips back here, that's for sure. I do have a slot for a cup and for a mobile device, and I actually have USB back here too. Both sides have their own USB sockets, which is kind of neat, and a 12-volt. Oh, that's pretty nice.
Keep in mind that third row comfort is relative. Any midsize is going to be a compromise for adults in the back. Thankfully, the front seats are a much better place to be.
Though you can get this with all-wheel drive, the model they sent us is the front-wheel drive. We do hope to have a X-Line non-hybrid full review on-road and off-road within the next few weeks. But for right now, this is what we got. Taking a look at this interior, this is a huge improvement over the old Sorento. The old Sorento, I didn't particularly care for, but it was the old Kia. This one says new Kia, but it's not perfect. I kind of like this multifaceted middle section. That's cool. The screen still kind of feels tacked on, and even more so since they've carried this big slab of plastic up here, which apparently does nothing. It just reminds me of a bathtub. It's like I should be able to like hang my shaver on it over here, or maybe dispense some bath soaps over here. I don't know. This doesn't do it for me.
Design quibbles aside, there's actually a lot to like here.
The seat is comfortable. It's covered in this like synthetic leather, and it actually does a pretty convincing job of being a nice high quality leather material. This does have seat warmers, but no seat ventilation. Also, no memory on the seat position. But, you know, for 38 grand, I think that's okay. I'll give them a pass. We have this really nice wrapping on the steering wheel. It does have paddle shifters, which for a 3-row family crossover, I'm not really sure why you need paddle shifters, but I guess somebody wants to feel sporty. And I like how the spokes are fairly small. So many manufacturers just tack on as much as they can, but this is actually a really nice feeling steering wheel. It has buttons to help me navigate between all my little info screens here, which is kind of cool. Covers my driving style, whether I'm aggressive, normal, or economical. And also I can see my energy flow, because this is, of course, a hybrid. Now, this is a front-wheel drive hybrid, and it has a whopping 227 horsepower. Now, you might think that that causes a little bit of wheel spin, and to be completely honest, in the rain, yeah, it does. I would much rather have this in an all-wheel drive format. And I did talk to Kia, and the all-wheel drive system that they do use in the hybrid, which is optional, uses a prop shaft down the middle. So you actually do have the energy unit powering all 4 wheels using physical connections, unlike the RAV4, which uses just an electric motor in the back. I prefer the prop shaft because I feel like you're getting the maximum amount of power all the time to all the wheels, whereas the dedicated electric motor is limited to the output of the electric motor, which is still fairly low compared to total output of systems these days.
Now let's dive into the infotainment.
The Kia system is quite good. It's very similar to the Hyundai system. It just has a slightly different skin, but it has all sorts of great features, including Apple CarPlay. Just plug in your phone, and then we can just swipe over to CarPlay and click on that. To start connecting Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, press this widget. Okay, that's fine. So let's add new phone, vehicle name Kia Motors, enable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on the Apple or Android device, and then pair in Bluetooth. So they're using Bluetooth for the handshake and then transferring over to Wi-Fi. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see, where's the Kia? There's Kia Motors. I click on that, I click pair, gives me my pass key, I say allow. Now it says connecting. Next. Okay. Boom, CarPlay. Not just CarPlay, wireless CarPlay. I love it. In fact, you can then use the wireless charging pad, which is located right over here, and keep your phone charged while at the same time still using CarPlay, all without a cable. It's very futuristic, and I love it. This also has a large panorama sunroof. We have a big dial here for the drive modes, drive, reverse, and park, as well as neutral. And then we have a drive mode selection dial here, where we can go between eco, sport, and smart. Now, I wanted to make sure that my battery was as charged as possible driving over here, so I just put it in sport. Going into eco, and it'll try to switch into full EV mode whenever it can. This is a hybrid. It is not a plug-in electric hybrid, so you really don't have a controllable electric-only range. The system is all automatic, and the battery should never completely deplete. It'll manage it for me. It also has hill descent control and, of course, parking sensors. This is loaded with features, and Wow, so many vents. I just realized this has 8 positional vents all in the midsection. That's kind of crazy. I think that's a little too many vents personally. But if you like your airflow, you can definitely manage your airflow here. And then, of course, have adaptive lane control. We have lane centering. We have collision mitigation, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alerts. This thing has the full platter of safety options. Now let's take this out for a drive and see how it does. Drive. Oh, it won't disconnect the auto handbrake unless I buckle my seatbelt, of course. Okay, let's see this power flow. So here you can see gas engine, electric motor, and then the battery, and it'll just show the flowing. In terms of road noise, because of all the rain, it's not the quietest, but it's okay for the class. Main contenders in this class are, of course, the Toyota Highlander. That is a very popular mid-size 3-row crossover that is available both in hybrid as well as in traditional drivetrains.
The Highlander in front drive hybrid trim only manages an EPA rating of up to 36 miles to the gallon around town. It's also more expensive, starting at $38,510 and going all the way to more than $50,000 with all-wheel drive. But the Highlander is a larger vehicle, more directly competing against the other Kia, the Telluride. In fact, there are very few small mid-size crossovers with that extra set of seats. The Volkswagen Tiguan has them, but it's not available as a hybrid. The Nissan Rogue used to offer a 3rd row, but it dropped it in the recent redesign. That pretty much makes this Sorento a class of 1.
Let's try the 0 to 60. Now keep in mind, this is a hybrid, front-wheel drive. It is wet out. I'm putting it in sport. And 3, 2, 1, go. Lot of wheel spin, lot of wheel spin, lot of wheel spin. That was almost useless because of all the wheel spin. 8.36, 0 to 60. That's like kind of pointless. We'll try that again without wheel spin in a little bit. You know, in the Pacific Northwest, wheel spin can be a significant issue with high-powered front-wheel drive cars because weather like this is pretty common. Even my in-laws, who aren't exactly aggressive drivers, in fact, I would say they're the opposite thing from aggressive drivers. They bought a Mazda 5 many years ago, back when those were still new. And the one complaint they had was the fact that it would always spin its front tires. You don't need high horsepower and you don't need to be an aggressive driver to have issues with front wheel spin in the Pacific Northwest. They have, in fact, went through like, I think, 3 different brands of tires trying to reduce front tire spin, and they were never able to do it. They eventually sold it and bought a Subaru Forester instead. Power is good. Power is really good. Especially in sport mode where it's not trying to maintain that charge in the system. It just doesn't care. Let's try a 0 to 60 by stopping right here on the side of the road. Stop completely. 3, 2, 1, go. And this time I'm going to try to not slip the front tires. 30, 40, I'm now full throttle, 50, and 60. We're now down to 8.06. So we can definitely get into the 7s if wheel slip in rain like this wasn't an issue, but it is a significant issue. Suspension tuning is a little bit on the soft side. I'm getting a little bit of a bouncy here. It's kind of typical with Kia's family offerings, and I think a lot of people will actually like it. It's not my thing. I kind of would rather something that's a little bit more progressive. Again, wheel spin going into the corner. I don't feel like I'm being that aggressive. I mean, that was probably 20% throttle in there right there. The steering is on the light side. Again, pretty, typical for the class, and that's okay. I think some people will like that. And body roll is well controlled. This drive's just nice, very nice. In sport mode, power is a little twitchy. It does try to put out a lot of power very quickly. Let's do that same pass, and this time we'll put it into eco mode and see how that handles the throttle. Now in eco mode, it tries to be as electric as possible. Like, let's see, if I slow down here and I just put a little throttle on, right now I'm in EV mode only. No petrol at all. Put a little throttle, and boom, now I'm into the petrol. So it's something that manages it for you, and it does a pretty good job of trying to stay in that EV range whenever it can. If you ask for more power or you get more aggressive on the throttle, it'll always engage the petrol engine very quickly. And the transition is very smooth. You don't really notice the difference. Brakes do have regen, and let's put them on this hill. Yeah, I can't really tell where the regen ends and the regular brakes begin, which is what you want in a system like this. That's excellent. Now the gauge clusters are very clear. I can very easily see the status of my battery and the status of my fuel level without any weirdness. Some of these new hybrids get a little too fancy with the gauge clusters. For example, Ford, you're getting a little weird with your digital clusters. Back off. I want to see if we can get closer to 7 seconds on a 0 to 60. Let's stop completely. And I'm going to try not to spin the wheels. 3, 2, oh, we're going to be in eco this time. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, still spinning those wheels. Oh, man. 30, 40, 50, and 60. 8.36. That was even worse. Oh, well. Let's try out this 6-speed automatic. Okay. When in the proper range, the gear changes are very quick. 4, 5, 4. There's a slight delay, but you know, again, for the target audience here, I think that'll be just fine because you're really only going to use it probably going down hills for a little compression braking, and even then, I doubt most people are going to use those paddle shifters. Now there is adaptive cruise control here. It'll be interesting to see if it works in this weather. I'm going to go ahead and set the pace, set the speed to 45, and that's pretty close with our GPS. We're looking at 44.8, and it also has auto steer. Let's see if that picks it up for us and how long it goes. What are we at? 5 seconds, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and now it's telling me to put my hands on the wheel. 15 seconds is pretty good. That's a very confident system. And I'm actually really impressed that it's doing it in weather as bad as this. We've seen some other systems just throw in the towel when it gets this wet. Audi, for example. But Volvo and Subaru will deal with this no problem. Let's have one more thing here. Let's reset fuel economy and see what our average is going to be. I'm going to try hypermiling just a little bit. So we'll put the drive mode into eco. I'm going to emulate that, you know, stop and go again, as though I was driving in the city. Keeping my speeds low. Stop completely, like sometimes you would do at a light. And away we go. Now, keep in mind this first half is actually slightly tilted downward, so it's at a huge advantage. Waiting to get a reading. I'm not going to say what I have quite yet because, you know, it's early. Let's get at least a half mile in here first. Okay, now let's just roll kind of normal. And then we have this steep downhill, which should benefit with the regen braking. And I just want to underscore, I never drive like this, ever. And I'm not sure if somebody could maintain this kind of controlled driving on the way to work. Because around here, you're not going to be driving at 30. But I'm doing the best I can here to try to see just how good I can get here. And really, if you are driving in rush hour traffic, it's quite possible that you're going to keep your speeds under 30 miles an hour like I'm doing here. And boom, over 40 average MPGs. Now I'm keeping it in EV mode quite a lot because I'm just slowly letting on the throttle and I'm keeping my speeds under 35. Now I'm over 50 MPGs. Can I get up to 60? Can I get up to 60? Let's wait for the next report. And it's over 60. So if you really baby it and most of your trip is downhill, yeah, you will get up to 60 some MPGs. Is that realistic? Not really, because you do have to go back the other way. And we're not done with the circuit yet. Let's do this whole circuit and see what the total MPGs calculate out to. Not only do I have a leg that's 55 miles per hour, I also have a slight uphill, which really does simulate regular commutes, I think. Okay, now I'm going to get up to 55 on the straightaway. Like you have a little short jaunt on the highway as you're heading into work, not unusual. MPGs have now fallen to high 30s. Okay, we're going slightly downhill again now after going over a rise. Okay, and combined we're looking at just, mid 30s, which is really great. I mean, that's exactly what they say you should get on the highway, and I think that's pretty equivalent there. And then also on the stop and go early stuff, I was getting way higher than the claimed 39. So if you can control your throttle and if you put it in eco, you definitely have the ability to get there. Of course, other drivers may want to ram you off the road. So that's just something you're going to have to weigh. If you're looking for a 3-row midsize crossover and you kind of want all this, and by all this I mean kind of an over-designed, fancy, kind of a little overly plasticized, yet still full of tech feature kind of environment, the new 2021 Kia Sorento Hybrid is an excellent choice. In going with the hybrid, you're not only getting better economy, you're also getting better performance, because this is right in the middle of the performance equation. If you look at the models that are available, you can get a standard Sorento petrol. It has less horsepower. You can get the top end petrol turbo. It has more horsepower. This one is smack dab in the middle at 227. You don't really want more horsepower on a front wheel drive vehicle. You just really can't use it in anything other than absolutely dry conditions. So I guess if you live in LA, that's great. If you live any of the wet parts of the country, not so great. You might as well just buy this for the economy, because that 39 MPGs is impressive. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douth, and thanks for watching. This has been my first look at the all-new 2021 Kia Sorento Hybrid front-wheel drive. For more videos, please subscribe. Also, give us a like. We're powered by you, and thanks for watching.